Good afternoon and welcome to the work session for the Pickens County Commissioners on Tuesday, June 2nd. We have just finished a joint meeting with Open Space and Trails, and we are moving into staff community presentations, and right now we will have Liz Woods present to us on the Healthy Rivers and Streams Sales Tax Revenue Bonds.
Thank you, Commissioners. I am Liz Woods, Finance Director, Treasurer, and Public Trustee for Pickens County. And online, I have Robin Moore from Piper Sandler, who will be helping with this presentation today. So, Robin, I have the slides pulled up. Are you able to see and speak and all those other things?
I am. Can you hear me? Good afternoon.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. So
Well,
take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are coming to you with an update on your next bond issue, which is the Healthy Rivers and Streams Sales Tax Bonds. And this is financing a few key water acquisition projects. The size of the bond issue is a little bit to be determined, but it's going to be somewhere between 5 and 7 million. So smaller than what you saw before in solid waste and much smaller than what you'll see coming up for the airport. We're anticipating at this point in time that the bond issue is going to be repaid over a term that's about 15 years. And we expect that they will be structured, the bonds will be structured with level debt service. So relatively equal principal and interest payments in all of the 15 years. And if you flip to the next slide, you can see a summary of some of the key terms that we have for this bond issue. So again, about 5 to 7 million, depending on the cash contribution, and then about a 15-year term length with level payments. This should have that last bullet point on the bottom is what we call a call feature or refinancing feature. So if rates come down or the situation warrants, there will be an opportunity to refinance these bonds in 10 years. That's the traditional feature that we have on municipal bonds. So it gives you some flexibility for going forward to either lower the payments or to pay the bonds off. And you have a team here that looks similar to your last bond issue, which was the solid waste bonds, where we're Piper Sandler. We serve in the role of fiduciary. We are your municipal advisor. Bond counsel is Kutak Rock. The firm underwriting the bonds is Stifel, and they have attorneys that represent the underwriter, which is Butler Snow. So all very Colorado focused team members that are very familiar with Pickens County and your bonds. The biggest feature that drives the interest rate on the bonds is your credit rating. So there's going to be a process similar to solid waste bonds and what we'll do with the airport. And that is that we will go and talk to the credit rating agency, so Standard & Poor's, about the credit, and they will assign a rating. So you can see here the strongest rating is AAA. We expect, based on our preliminary analysis, that these bonds will fall into that very strong AA category. So there's a rough timeline at the bottom here. We should have the rating sometime in that first to second week of July. And thanks to Liz and team, they've done a lot of work on the documents, which drive the credit rating presentation. And so lots gotten into it from staff, so we were very appreciative of the partnership there. We expect to sell the bonds. This is the financing schedule in late July with a closing, and that's when the county will receive the funds in early August. Right now we're targeting August 11th. So this will come back to you on June 24th for a first reading, and then July 8th for a second reading. So let me pause there. Any questions about the bond issue? Then we'll talk a little bit about the market.
I'm seeing head shakes.
We're good.
Okay. So always the question is, what are rates going to do? What are they doing now? It's been an interesting time. I think we talked about this a couple months ago, and We came to you with the solid waste bonds. There's continued volatility out of the Middle East conflict in particular. The change from a few months ago is the Fed funds futures are now showing us that there could be a hike in interest rates. So our economists and others are saying there's somewhere between like a 30-40% chance of a rate hike by the end of 2026. So that volatility is lending to, and you can see it a little bit on the right side of the interest rate chart here, is lending to an increase in the base rates that we look at. There's two lines here. One is what we call the MMD, or municipal market data. That's the index that your bonds are priced off of. This is a tax-exempt bond issue compared to US Treasuries, which is a taxable index. So the orange is going to be lower because the rates are lower. That's the MMD index. So just as a point of reference, when we sold the solid waste bonds for the county, that was back on February 10th, the 10-year MMD, the 10-year tax-exempt index, was about 260. Today it's 299. So it's about almost a 40 basis point, or a little bit shy of 0.5% increase since we sold those in mid-February. The US Treasury Index, and a lot of us are more familiar with that, that was about 4% when we sold the bonds. Today it's about the 10-year is about a 443, somewhere around there. So you can see we've had an increase in rates. They continue to move. We had more of a spike, and that's come down in the last few days, which has been nice to see. We were in the market earlier today with a City of Fort Morgan bond issue, about almost $50 million. Strong demand. So that's the bottom bullet point there. Interest rates are driven in part as to what's going on in expectations for the future, but also supply and demand. And on the demand side, investors are still very, very excited and interested in purchasing Colorado municipal bonds. So we've seen them performing very well. And we don't expect that to change between now and when Healthy Rivers and Streams goes to the bond market. So I think I'll pause there. We have a chart on one more chart on the last slide that shows the expectations for the Fed interest rate movement. As I said, we're seeing now that the Fed fund forecast is pricing in a rate hike toward the end of 2026. But obviously there's a lot of focus on the economic data, and decisions will be driven in part based on that and what's going on overseas and here domestically. Generally, while the Fed funds is the short-term interest rate, we're pricing more off the longer end of the yield curve. There's always that rough correlation of when rates go up, we see that trickling into the municipal bond market as well. But the good news at the end of the day is that Colorado municipal bonds in general, are doing exceptionally well. Pitkin County has a very solid name in the market, and we have a very positive expectation that when Healthy Rivers and Streams goes to the market, it will see investor demand and should perform quite well regardless of market conditions. So I think I'll pause there. Any questions about the market or the bond issue?
Yeah, I have one. So when people are interested in investing in these bonds, do they offer competitive rates, or do they all offer the same rate? How does that work?
Yeah, good question. So bonds are available for purchase on the morning of the bond sale. They are sold in $5,000 denominations. And generally speaking, so this bond issue would be priced over 15 years. It's almost like 15 little bond issues with their own interest rate. So bonds that are maturing earlier typically have lower interest rates, and then bonds maturing out longer have higher interest rates. And investors can purchase bonds up and down that yield curve. They would, they can come in touch with us. Stifel is the underwriter, would be the ultimate source of selling those bonds, but we can certainly arrange for information to go out to the community that shows an expectation of rates, where rates will be, and how to purchase the bonds.
So when we actually get our final rate, it's kind of an average of all the different purchasers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But when we say like the bond sold at 4.5%. That you're absolutely right. There's lots of little rates along the way, but it averages out to that number.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from you guys? All right, we're ready to move on.
That was.
Okay, we'll speed read that.
Anything else you wanted to add, Robin?
No, just as always, it's a pleasure working with your staff and with you all, and we're always happy to answer questions, or if you want to put us in touch with anyone that has questions about the bond issue, please do that.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
We're getting good at this bond stuff around here.
We'll be really good at it by the end of the year, that's for sure. Because we'll have seen all the different kinds by that point
We
almost.
want to have a robust bond portfolio.
We got one. We got one.
So that's all we had for the presentation today. You've seen a lot of this over the last few months, so I don't think it's anything new, but we are still working with the city of Aspen.
Great.
So that is still in the works. But I think if you feel strongly about this and you want to talk to other council members, I would encourage you to do so. I'm not sure we're going to get anything from the city on this, so just
Anything what?
I don't think we are going to get anything from the city on this.
Oh,
So if you want to use your connections, feel free to do so.
Yeah. Did you read the message we got from Anne Marie about the conversation? Yeah, it was a little disheartening to me. I understand some of their points, but the bottom line is we need to be working together to get water in our river, and also at the same time find a way to use that water to help the city with their concerns over not having water in reservoirs. And I think those are positive points. I'm sorry that we didn't bring them in at the beginning of our discussions, but it all happened really fast, and a lot of it was behind closed doors while we were negotiating. So that's something I think we can tell the city we're sorry, but the timing was such that we didn't have the luxury, because we needed to buy it now for fear of losing it. And I think that's a message we can take to individual city council members, that let's see if we can work together on this, to also further our ability to make investments such as this in the future that will bring more water to the Upper Roaring Fork, which again will help the city out.
Thank you. So we will be actually back next week with a budget supplemental to actually have this in the budget. And so the debt financing will be one of those supplementals, and then we will be back with the actual bond documents at the end of June in a regular meeting.
and when will we make a decision about how much we're borrowing?
So the direction that we got at the last work session was to do the 5 million and then use, if the city were to contribute, to kind of buy that down. So we're going to basically use $1 million of fund balance, and then any more that the city would contribute. So if we don't have anything from the city, then it will stay at that $1 million.
Thank you.
I just want to say, I didn't come away with a sense of confidence that the city council is even in the loop on this. It sounded like this was a missive from city staff only, and I think that's concerning, and we should reach out and make sure they understand. It does occur to me, though, that opportunities to invest in water rights will continue to come to us, and we want to tee them up so they're prepared to participate, because really this benefits the city of Aspen as much or more than anyone, I think. There are a lot of people appreciate and depend on the Roaring Fork River, and this is all about keeping water in that river, and it's for their benefit to a great extent. So I haven't had a conversation with any of the city councilors yet, but I will.
And it's a true case of the river runs through it.
Exactly, yeah.
All right.
Nicely.
Any other questions before we wrap up?
That's
Otherwise,
it
we're
for
going to
me.
be way ahead of schedule. Sorry about that.
I know.
We
You
don't
guys are
mind.
fast. See what
We
happens
can handle
when,
that.
Okay.
see what happens when the dead weight isn't here?
I was going to say when we have a good chairman.
Oh.
I didn't realize we had gone with 5 million. I don't know how I missed that. Maybe I fell asleep on Zoom.
Great, thank you.
And now we have Lisa MacDonald.
With the big packet in our packet. Hi, Lisa.
Good afternoon, everybody. You want to come up, Megan? Sure. She might need to set up her laptop. She's going to maybe do a little presentation. And I think we have Diane McKnight online. Is she there? Great. Good. Is Michael here yet? We have one more presenter that's coming in too, but he's not here yet since we're ahead of schedule. Great. Good afternoon, everyone. Lisa MacDonald, Healthy Rivers Program. And we are here today to give some information on our grant process that the River Board just heard on April 16th. Every year they hear grants from around the valley, and this year the board moved to recommend 3 grants that were over the $15,000 threshold. Those then come to the BoCC for information purposes, and to the applicants are here and available to answer any questions or address any concerns the BoCC might have on those applications. Our grant budget in 2026 was $200,000, and we accept applications throughout the year, and they are cut off in March. And then at the April meeting, the River Board hears these applications. So I think we'll just scroll on down to the first applicant. Diane McKnight is joining us from Boulder, I think, and she will give a little quick presentation on the Institute of Arctic and Alpine Research. The commissioners have heard all of these last year. They are similar in nature, so you might be a little familiar with all of this work. So I'll let Diane take it from here.
Thank you very much for being available to hear this brief presentation about our continued work. The theme this year is ecological impact of metal contamination in the Lincoln Creek watershed, focusing on Grizzly Reservoir and the Roaring Fork River. My colleague Tom Marquito and I are professors at the University of Colorado, and as you're probably aware, we've been working with an effective team of Pitkin County Public Health, Roaring Fork River Conservancy, and others, Twin Lakes, on understanding some important aspects of this system. This proposal, again, is focused on the biota, which hopefully you can see here. This is a diatom, which is a photosynthetic microorganisms. They're present everywhere in streams. And this is a invertebrate. This is a stonefly. Fish eat mayflies and stoneflies. So, and the stoneflies and mayflies eat the algae growing on the stream bed, which includes diatoms. As you're aware, there's serious contamination of Grizzly Reservoir due to inflows from Lincoln Creek. I point out that the reservoir looks blue here, and that's because the copper concentration is so high. It makes the reservoir blue, and when it's that high, that can kill fish. So the 2 goals are to determine the biological characteristics of Grizzly Reservoir in a sediment core, focusing on the top 10 to 20 years and how that's changed, and then also to determine the composition, but also the content of metals in these invertebrates that I showed you the picture of. Here's a picture of the sediment core copper concentration. So the black is total copper, and the red is the amount of copper that we can easily leach out of the sediment. Here's this sediment core. You can see the peat at the bottom. This is when the reservoir was first constructed in 1936. And here's a sample that we've looked at, which has dated using lead-210 so far to about 2000. This is 20 centimeters. So this means that the rate of accumulation of sediment has accelerated to be just under a centimeter per year, which is a lot of sediment. And here's this sediment you can see when the reservoir was drained 2 years ago, which is when we collected this core. And as I mentioned, not only can we see which type of diatoms are there, but we can see how their shape is deformed in response to toxic concentrations of metals, which will be preserved because they're made out of essentially silica glass. So we already know that they're there. The other theme of this research will be determining the benthic macroinvertebrate content or composition, and also the metal content. And these results will be useful to the Roaring Fork River Conservancy, Pitkin County, and the U.S. Forest Service. We've been in touch with them in terms of understanding the species that are already there and what's known, but we're able to basically digest this insect in acid and measure its metal content, and for example, figure out, is the metal content of these invertebrates greater downstream of the Lincoln Creek inflow in the Roaring Fork.
Bless you.
And then just to wrap up, we have constructed or developed this proposal based on our understanding of what would be useful right now as the group figures out how to proceed with addressing these problems. And we have a community engagement award from the University of Colorado that furthermore will support this ongoing collaboration. And when it's appropriate, based on the Lincoln Creek work group needs, we will, for example, have another public lecture like we did 2 years ago at the Basalt Library. So I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Question. Francie?
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. This is Greg. I can see you now. You're up in the upper part. I'm wondering if you measure copper concentration. I thought I heard about copper, and I didn't see it. Am I getting my CU?
We're
There it is.
measuring copper concentrations basically all the time. So every time we collect a benthic invertebrate sample, we'll be measuring the water quality, and so we'd be measuring copper, zinc, lead, and everything else. And then that's part of the benthic invertebrate work. And then this sediment core, we have greatly characterized the trace metals in the core, both in terms of the total amount and the leachable concentration. So that tells us about, as say groundwater flows through these sediments, whether copper could be coming in through the sediments as well. And you can see these layers here. This is layers of iron and aluminum oxides that have gotten washed in from upstream in Lincoln Creek into the reservoir.
Right, thank you. We had an interesting letter from some kids at the local school who were asking really good questions about, and presenting solutions, proposing solutions to us. And I'd love to invite you to perhaps interact with them. They could hear it from your office at some point, if that's possible. We can forward the letter to you, but there just may be opportunities to educate the public, because there's still a perception that this is entirely from a mine, man-made cause from a mine, and then the solutions they proposed may or may not be feasible. It'd be worth hearing it from the scientists on the ground.
We would greatly appreciate that, and as I pointed out at the end, we have a community engagement award that will, we can give us scope to respond and show up and talk to school kids during the year, and also develop materials that's useful in that way. As you're probably aware, the main sources of this copper is this mineralized tributary adjacent to the mine.
Right, thank you. I'm looking at Lisa MacDonald to say, hint, let's get a hold of those school kids and maybe engage.
We have capacity for this, and would be really enjoyed working with the school kids and their teachers as well.
Great, yeah, and it's great.
Even Megan.
Yeah, I know, it's great to have Megan here as well from
Yeah,
Roaring
that's
Fork
right.
Conservancy. If I could, last thing I was going to say is that I'm the chair of the RWAPA board, and we're Rudai Water and Power, and of course we're concerned primarily about aquatic nuisance species. And it seems that the thing they use to kill aquatic nuisance species in the various reservoirs is a copper solution, which apparently is toxic for the mud snails and the zebra mussels. And I was just wondering, is there a silver lining to any of this? If the copper content's high enough, will it keep the mussels out of the Roaring Fork?
Well, it's.
We may not want to fix it.
So just to reply, back when I did my PhD at MIT, I studied copper sulfate treatment of drinking water reservoirs. The concentrations of copper in Grizzly Reservoir about 2 orders of magnitude higher than you can use to control algal blooms.
Okay, so
It's staggering.
we're going to be mussel-free up there. I'm looking at the good news here.
Yeah, but that's.
And trout-free as well.
Free
That's good news.
Thank you.
Daphnia free and.
Right, yeah.
Right.
It's kind of scary having been up there.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, and I look forward to hearing more, and we'll get these kids engaged as well.
Thank you.
Was that the public comment we just received?
Yeah.
That was really, really in-depth. I was impressed. I need to print it out so I can really grasp all the information they
You'll want to
presented.
hire her, yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
Well, up next we have Megan Dean with Roaring Fork Conservancy regarding the supporting watershed education initiatives. So kind of ties right into what we were just talking about.
Smart kids.
Making
Smart
notes
water,
and
smart
Yeah.
kids.
making plans to incorporate that next year. Let me, first of all, hello everyone. Good to
Hi,
see
how are you?
everybody. I am going to share my screen. It's just saying that someone else is sharing.
I have to figure out how to share my screen.
Okay.
Thank you, we'll see you later. Soon.
I need to figure that out.
McKella will do it. Boom.
Okay.
It's a good thing we have this good projection in the room, so
Yeah.
we can be projecting this.
Really?
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to find the present button. It's right there. Oh, it's okay. All right, well, hello, everybody. I just want to say thank you for the past support before we launch into the presentation for the next incoming year. We continue at Roaring Fork Conservancy to strive and accomplish creating innovative programs that are very reflective of what's going on in current water issues and current focuses for Pickens County along with statewide water issues and water education needs. Last year, we taught 304 education programs, totaling over almost 7,000 contacts in 2025. So we've been very busy. This top right photo shows students at the new water park area in River Valley Ranch, and we've been able to utilize that educational space, which has been amazing for macroinvertebrate studies. And I was definitely taking notes. I would love to also get that contact information of those students that were writing and doing some research, because I think it would be really great to have them do a macroinvertebrate class before she came up so that they would have a better, more in-depth idea of what she's talking about and how they are pollution tolerance index indicators. That would be amazing, actually. And we continue to use the augmented reality sand table to just show general water education, transbasin diversions, and that really comes into how things spiral and create change in our programming. So the picture down in the bottom of the students pointing at the map, that was actually taken down in Aurora when I travel there every year. And those students, because they can't all come here, experience how water flows by spraying the water on maps. And I also bring lots of touch table activities so that they can understand the riparian ecology that we have up here, the organisms that depend on rivers. And the response in Aurora over the years has been quite incredible. We've reached up, I just counted, we've reached over 1,000 students at this point over the years, which is amazing. And these students were the students that came up for the watershed experience last summer, and they presented to the Aurora water managers. So we actually were able to talk with the people that are managing Aurora's water, which is not an easy audience to get. And coming from the mouths of babes, so the students did an amazing job of explaining why wetlands are important, why water and rivers are important, because they experience it themselves. So they fell in love with this area, and then they were able to very beautifully communicate that and share that through their photographs with the Aurora water managers. So that was quite an experience. The bottom two pictures are showing the students actually writing the letters, but also we've started to incorporate Aurora Water brings educators up here to share the systems with us, and the students are actually able to physically move ping pong balls, not water, across through various pipes and buckets and diversions and understand what that system actually is made of and what that means. We also incorporate rafting ecology classes because the core tenet in the education programs are, really helping students fall in love with the river and with the ecology and that connection, because that creates value and people actually taking care of it. I don't know if we have time. How are we on time, Lisa? I do have the finished video. I can send you links if we don't have time. It's a 6-minute video of the Watershed Pen Pal video that we finished with Fly Lords.
Why don't you send links just to keep the
I want to make
the
sure we
rather
keep you guys on
conversation,
schedule.
but I want to see it.
Okay.
I'm really eager to see this.
It turned.
That's so cool.
It's really great. Yeah, I'm really excited about how it turned out and what we can do with that video. So here's some pictures of Sopris Elementary School students rafting down the river, and I love taking that group because a lot of them, it's the first time that they're ever on the river, so they just light up, and then they are very eager to learn all the other things that I teach them throughout the year. That's definitely my bait, and share with their pen pals why rivers are so
That was with
important.
Sopris Elementary?
Yeah.
That's the greatest little elementary school.
It is wonderful.
So my
I love that.
granddaughter
Yes.
and grandson go.
Yeah, it's a really good school.
And they could be taking the kids on their own raft, taking them out in the river. They're on the river all the time.
What's your age range for your students that are doing the pen pal exchange? Are those
4th and 5th grade.
4th and 5th? Great.
Yep.
Wonderful.
So this is the grant budget. I'm sure you guys have that in your packet. And I am open to any questions that you have at this time.
I just have one question. Well, just make sure we know when they're in town, we can always come down rather than them all having to come up. I'd love an opportunity to actually sit with them and tell them the experiences we've had with the Trans Mountain diversions and the tunnels and the rafting and the aquatic species and habitats and all that, and that as my 9-year-old granddaughter loves to remind me, water is life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. She's going to be in 4th grade next year at Sopris.
Okay, so are we getting a guest speaker?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll reach out, and if you'd like to come, I would love to organize that.
Yeah, you can't tell Grammy to stay away, let me tell you.
No. Did you come rafting with us?
Yeah, you can't tell me to stay away from that either, so yeah.
I just want to share that when I was 6, I lived on Waters Avenue in Aspen, and there was a tiny wetland from an irrigation ditch probably right near our house. And our neighbor, one day I noticed a new neighbor was there, and he was collecting samples. He'd built small aquariums out of microscope slides. He glued them together to make these little visible aquariums.
Oh, nice.
And he gave me one, and he said, "Here, dip it in the thing." And he turned me on to science. That was my initiation to science, with a biologist doing water, and I don't know if he was working with Bob Lewis or what, but
What a great
it was
neighborhood to live
the
in.
coolest thing. And I think about these kids and how you're just introducing them to a world, an important world. It's really a great thing, and I appreciate it. And I'm eager to see that film, and you understand why. The pen pal thing's really a cool thing. I can't wait to see what you did with it.
Is that at the Basalt River Park? Where's the bottom slide, the big?
That's just outside of the River Center. So we were able to inherit another stream trailer from Denver Water,
Oh,
and they
great.
donated it to us, so we've been able to incorporate that back into our programming, and we do a lot of programs that involve fire ecology using that and showing the importance of riparian vegetation and mitigating that, and just kind of the hydrology of rivers, and the kids get to build them and then rebuild them and, test the wrong way, test the right way. Yeah.
And you can't extend this program to like senior citizens to participate?
I mean, we could. I mean, there's a lot of times where I really wish that I could take my programs to like higher level meetings, and we were able to a little bit with the Aurora water managers, but have them play the games that I show the kids with different water users and how it is a limited resource, and we do pictures with water, and then the water runs out, and they have to decide who gets it, and
Just keep sending it this way.
I know. I know.
That's great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I was just thinking, it's like we have an interaction with the Aurora Water Board. It's usually through attorneys.
Yes.
And so now we're doing it through these kids, and that's such a gratifying thing. Maybe that's a better way to get through to them.
That's my hope.
Yeah, well done, Megan.
Start young and preemptively change
Yeah.
minds instead of having to always do it legally.
And
Yeah.
behaviors.
Yes, and just concepts like baseline. This is how I react to this. This is like my automatic decision of like it's conservation, and yes, there was a lot of security at Aurora Water. So I'm like, whoa, I got in.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, thank you, Megan. It's great to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Yeah,
Good to see you
great,
too.
thanks.
Oh.
Keep up the good work.
All right, and next up we have Wilderness Workshop. It looks like Will Welsh and Michael Gorman are joining us. I'll scoot down here. You can.
We know you guys.
Yeah,
Two
welcome
other
back.
familiar faces.
Good to see you, Will.
Somebody who knows how my grandkids are always on the water.
Yeah.
All three of them in different manners.
And these two will present on the campaign to protect the Crystal River in conjunction with the Crystal River Wild and Scenic.
And I can share, I'm on the Zoom call. Yes.
And maybe do I need to push to talk, or is it? It's like-
Red and light.
Okay. Well, we're getting set up. I can just jump in with a quick introduction. Michael Gorman is our campaign director, is going to, and really leading this work, will give the bulk of the presentation. But I just wanted to start by saying thanks for all the support over the years, and thanks for the partnership as well, as you all know. But for folks who are watching, both the county and the Healthy Rivers and Streams Board has been a crucial partner on this work to protect the Crystal River, and we look forward to that continuing. And want to give a special shout out and celebration of the recently signed intergovernmental agreement between Picken County, Gunnison County, Town of Marble, and the two relevant river districts. While just one of the three goals we all have to protect the crystal, and probably the easiest one to achieve, it's still really exciting to reflect on that success. We're really enthusiastic about that as a way to build momentum for the other two ways to protect the crystal. But it's always, it takes a long time to get these protections, and so we want to make sure to celebrate those wins when we get them. And thank you guys. Thanks for the time and effort that I know it takes to put something like that in place. So well done.
On both sides, well done.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks again. It's really exciting that we've achieved this big first step through the intergovernmental agreement. And just, there we go. So I'll just walk through really high level our grant, and then we can do some questions. We're here today to ask for approval for a grant of $35,000 to fund Wilderness Workshop's work on both the in-stream flow proposal and a wild and scenic proposal. So I don't know why it's flashing all weird. So I'll just really quick zoom out pretty high level on kind of where we're at in this overall process. There's, as a reminder, the stakeholder group is working on 3 paths for protection of the crystal. And those 3 paths are the intergovernmental agreement, which was just completed last month. Hooray. And this grant is for our work on the other two, which are broken up into subcommittees working on each of these. So the in-stream flow recommendation group, and then the wild and scenic stakeholders group. So for the in-stream flow work that we're doing, this one is also very exciting. It's a program through the state, as you're probably familiar with, which typically protects minimum flows in streams, but it can and has also been used to protect higher flows or even full runoff flows for streams if you can show why that is necessary. So our group is the subcommittee group, which we're co-leading. We are working, last year we helped contract some riparian studies, which are moving into the next phase. We'll need some more lab work this fall and some more data collection. And basically we're using these studies to build up a case for why these higher flows are needed for the crystal. So this graph over here shows a high, average, and low hydrograph on the crystal. We're, I don't know,
Can you
probably
expand
somewhere.
that? Will that blow up, or can you stretch it, or
Yeah, I could
just zoom in,
Bottom one,
or both?
yeah.
Yeah. So,
It's jumping.
yeah, that I don't know
Why is
why
it
it's
jumping?
doing that.
They're zooming.
It's a configuration on your dual monitor settings. You don't
Oh.
go into
Okay, it's
Blame it on
somewhere
Michael.
deep in my settings. Sorry
Okay,
about
no,
that.
no worries. That's better.
Just
We
pretend
can
you're
jump
blinking
right along
at the
with
right
you.
time. That vertical or that horizontal line there are the existing water rights on the crystal. So most of the year there are no available flows to be gobbled up by a dam or diversion, which is what we're all trying to prevent. But you can see even in an average year and certainly in a high year, there are unappropriated flows that could potentially be targeted. And so these are the ones that we are looking at to protect with the in-stream flow and keep in the river for environmental purposes. So our work this year, in the coming year, is going to focus on continuing to coordinate the scientific studies. One is for riparian vegetation, which is basically showing intact riparian areas, how these areas along the crystal depend on certain flows for their establishment and maintenance of those vegetative communities. And we'll have to basically use the data to show, we basically to say we need this much flow to support the existing riparian areas that are still intact and somewhat unique in the region to have a river that still has those annual floods and pushes cobble and sediment onto the floodplain and continues to maintain the cottonwood and riparian vegetation. So that's really exciting. More to come there. We've got to send off some tree rings to a lab in Arizona because the tree rings are so tiny on these cottonwoods that we need a specialized lab for that. And then we'll be working really closely with the CWCB staff to make sure that everything we're doing is working in the right direction and we're not getting off track or anything, and making sure that we're building the most solid case for when we go before the CWCB board. So we'll then use that to build out a recommendation. And in the meantime, we can start to do some initial public outreach. It looks more just like some general education and getting the idea socialized to start building some political support, because that is also a piece of the recommendation and the final decision, there is a political element of that. I threw this timeline in here. That's just shows the state process. We are still in the development phase. Once we've got a solid proposal developed, it's at least a 2-year process after that of going through the state's kind of template for appropriating a new in-stream flow.
So the bottom line is that we are requesting the CWCB to, I guess, acquire the in-stream flow rights to the water that is above the, what is that?
That 1100.
Yellow line, whatever
yeah.
that is, in years that we have it.
Right.
Right.
Maybe we'll have it this year.
And so you're supporting that request with documentation and field work, and then the CWCB will look at it and take 2 years to decide, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And then go to water court.
Yeah, and then they go through the whole water court process. And so we're just being extremely diligent in this process because this is a somewhat non-typical in-stream flow. Usually you're looking at base flows just to keep fish alive. This is a little, there's precedent, but they'll scrutinize it a lot more because it's these higher flows. So that's hence all this work going in on this end of it. And then the next one is, it's all zoomed in, just our work, finishing out our work in the wild and scenic side of it, which is the other subcommittee. We have a draft report in the very early draft stages now. That's going to be our final product from this group. And basically we've been really digging into the very specific details of wild and scenic legislation. We've been looking at example language from other bills and kind of pulling these all together into a report that basically lays out how you could do this in the Crystal River Valley, and also takes into account all the concerns and needs that we've heard from stakeholders and community members up the Crystal, and so kind of wrap this all into a really robust report, which then can be delivered to our delegation and then be used as sort of a roadmap for a draft bill. It basically have all the ingredients for drafting a bill and kind of a lot of the homework and research already done. And most importantly, documenting all the work, all the stakeholder outreach and collaboration that's gone into this process so far, so that a willing senator kind of has this great piece of information to show the work that's gone into it and kind of take it from there into the next step, which would be a draft bill. And so our work there is we're a co-chair of that subcommittee. We're helping finalize that report and then helping to kind of facilitate the handoff of that, kind of wrapping it up and handing it off to the delegation, and also making sure that there's some education and outreach leading up to that so that the community is aware of it and excited for the release of that report, and can then in turn show support for the report and for a resulting wild and scenic bill that would hopefully come out of that. So that's how we've broken up our work on there.
Can I just ask, is that indeed Francie, and what is she saying to them?
That is.
Well, what is really unique is that people are actually looking at me and listening.
They're listening.
Yeah, intently.
I think it must have been when I was making the comment about Larry Darien not wanting to have the federal government involved with anything around him, and I said, but he's chosen to live in a place where he's completely surrounded by federal lands. That's definitely one of the things I said at that meeting.
She also offered a free lunch at Fat Belly Burger.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
can I ask a question, Madam Chair?
Please.
What's the time frame?
So for the Wild and Scenic, we're hoping to have the report out, I'll say this fall. We've got a draft. We're in the stage of all the back and forth edits and everything. So yeah, this fall, I hope to wrap that up, and then kind of depending on how the election cycle shakes out, then we'll be able to really kind of make more of a detailed plan on how and where that gets delivered.
So have you been in contact with any of our congressional, either senator or the congressman? So they're just kind of in the fringe of the loop?
Yeah, and they're part of the stakeholder group, so their staff comes to the meetings and is kind of looped in.
Like Riley, Delaney?
Delaney has
From
kind of
Bennett.
swapped out for Hillary from Bennett,
Right.
and then Janeth from Hickenlooper.
Because, we have great relationships with them, and they will continue, so we're a great advocate for that contact.
And I think anytime you're meeting with them, mentioning this is
Yeah.
great. There's no reason not to show that support, and
So which do you think will happen first, the wild and scenic designation or the in-stream flows? I'm having a feeling in-stream flows is going to be the
Yeah,
horse that
that's
gets the red roses around his
probably the
neck.
faster track. Just knowing how long legislation takes, and looking at the current Congress, we're not expecting anything out of.
But if you get
This one.
the in-stream flows first, that's going to be a real bonus to the wild and scenic designation, so.
Yeah, and it gets you a
that's-
lot of the way there with, protecting these water rights is a big piece of what you get in wild and scenic. And we're making sure that we're doing it in such a way that is compatible legislatively with how wild and scenic
Yeah.
works with the wild.
It's a
with
great
the-
effort, just we have to keep pushing at it.
Yeah.
I do think that as we make progress in other areas, that there are people who say, well, why do you need wild and scenic? You've got this, and now you've got this, so why do you need wild and scenic?
You need that to protect this.
Well,
In
I
the
know,
long run.
you know why.
I know that, but
Yeah, and this,
pretty
it's
common
certainly a
sense,
great
actually.
interim protections. Wild and scenic is still obviously much more durable, and there's a number of other benefits that come with wild and scenic, not just the water right. So we'll certainly be, highlighting those differences when the time comes to talk about that.
And I think, it's a good point, Francie, and that's part of why we're, working on all three at the same time. We haven't said, well, let's do the IG first, get that done, and then start on the in-stream flow, and then we'll do the in-stream flow, and then we'll start. We want to be moving them all ahead at the same time, so that ideally we can get them done as soon as possible, and to send that message that all three are important. It's not an either or. But that's on our minds.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, guys. Do you have more?
I was just going to add that once that report, the Wild and Scenic report, is out, I think the county's support and engagement there will be key in getting that to the next step with our legislators. So
Yeah, I think
we'll
that's a given.
certainly we'll be asking for y'all's help when that comes.
Yeah, great. All right, well, I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, got another meeting tomorrow.
Can I ask a question? Just perspective on the agreement, the what is it?
Intergovernmental
I
agreement,
suppose,
yeah.
agreement. That we had one commenter, Bill Yocums, on the Healthy River, said, well, this doesn't have any teeth, what's the point of doing it? But went ahead and did it, and I'm just wondering, I'd love to hear Francie's and your perspectives on, it seems to have been useful, but I haven't really followed up. So was it worthwhile, and is it a strong enough agreement that it's going to be of value?
Yeah, certainly I can start. It's certainly worthwhile, and applaud the county for doing that. It does have some meaningful protections, if you want to call it that, in the meantime. While sure any party can get out of the agreement whenever they choose to, I think that would be politically hard to do. So there's some sort of accountability there. And it, maybe puts the message out to any would-be developers that, this is a major uphill battle if you are trying to divert or store water on the Crystal. And yeah, in terms of the teeth part, that's why we're still pushing on these other two methods. But in the meantime, I think it's, a lot of positive, and we want to just kind of ride the momentum of that kind of into these other.
Great. Well,
efforts.
thank you. No,
And I would say that one of the benefits of it is that it shows an alignment between 5 major stakeholders. And even if this were to fall apart in the future, this IGA, it could be an impetus for the senators to say, okay, they've really done their serious work, all these people agree. So I think it will help us with getting the senators to promote this.
Couldn't agree more. That's, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Just the riparian areas are such great reservoirs, and maybe that'll just help people regard them as such.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bring
Thank
back
you very
those
much.
beavers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's it.
Thanks for coming in.
I did want to mention the Eco Flight. I know you all were invited up. 4 of our river board members went up with our intern Kat Corona also went up, and they said it was fantastic. So the next round, I encourage you all, if you want to
They
go,
flew up the Crystal?
let us know. Yeah.
For Thompson Divide.
Thompson Divide.
Crystal,
Yep.
Roaring Fork, Lower Roaring Fork. I went up one day as well.
Oh, good.
And we had a great flight, got a lot of great photos, useful stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I went with them over to Gunnison and then back over a few years ago. And then I did the traffic flight the other day.
Oh,
Great, yeah, excellent. It's good, important.
I think they do amazing work, and it's an amazing opportunity. I just have to put it out there. If you look at the website and see what the executive director and his assistant make, their salaries, it's a little over the top. And, you have said this before in funding groups where, their executive director makes $200,000, $300,000 a year. It's hard to give them public money to support their organization. So it's kind of a tough one because EcoFlight is pretty awesome. I've flown with them once up the Crystal. And just to see it from that angle
It's amazing.
is pretty amazing, but we need to think about it. So I think funding it at some level is probably appropriate. Sometimes it's hard when you have all these other organizations that need funding, but it's Healthy Rivers and Streams money, and if it applied towards people looking at healthy rivers and streams. Because you did one for beaver. Didn't they do a beaver habitat one recently?
Thompson
that's the
Divide.
one.
That was the one? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have other presenters today for us?
Nope, that's it.
That's it.
Okay.
We're all
Thank
set.
Thanks.
That's fun.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Always
Thank you, guys.
fun.
Thank all of you.
All right, we're gonna reopen the discussion about the Aspen Times. Finally, I've been asking for quite a while for this, so I'm so excited it's actually happening. And we're gonna have Alycin Bektesh start us off.
Hi, Alycin.
Hi.
Hi. I do have some slides, but I think it's mostly going to be a conversation, so I can go through them or just open it up. I am Alycin Bektesh, Strategic Communications Manager for Pitkin County, and I do want to acknowledge we have the publishers of both the Aspen Times and Aspen Daily News in the room. They made the trip here, and of course have always been great working partners, so I want to call them out.
Let me just check one thing. Can you hear her, Megan? Okay, great.
Sorry, I was telling Will how good he's looking considering he broke his femur just weeks ago.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, thank you.
He's
Okay,
doing
sorry.
really well.
You do talk really fast.
Bad
Alycin.
injury.
I know, let's calm it down. I mean, I can do that just by getting into technology here, Francie, and trying to get some slides
We
up
don't do
for you.
technology in this room.
We don't do it too quickly,
Oh, that's what I forgot to add that word at the end.
unless it's
We
McKellar.
don't do it right, anyway.
Unless it's McKellar to write. McKellar gets it done. I'll say that.
Oh, but let me start at the end, how about? I also want to clarify that today we are talking about marketing dollars, so we're not talking about news coverage and things that we do, that you do and the county does for what we call kind of unearned media, just their reporters are reporting on what we're doing. And we're not talking about paper of record, which is something that county commissioners need to choose, and that has been chosen during the original 2022 discussion. That is not back open for discussion today. Today we're talking about marketing spend. So that's ad dollars, essentially, for the programs that we do and want to get the word out about. I pulled quick data for you, and it is not up to date, but maybe within the last first 5 months of the year. These are along the bottom, a list of ways in which we reach out to the community when we have information, engagement sessions, want public outreach and involvement. And by far, even though the category is cut off, print and digital advertising is the highest use of our tactics for reaching out to the community. Almost all of that is external, and then you kind of see a breakdown of all the different departments who have used some of our marketing dollars this year. I wanted to show you some recent ads. Again, over the last couple months, I literally just went through the paper and screenshot the type of advertisements that we do place in local papers. Everything from what's going on at the senior center regularly, with the call out for the community survey, Healthy Community Fund. The assessor needs to get information out to the community legally, but also she does a great ad explaining the system a little bit more. We had an open house. These are the type of items that we reach out to. My next slide is
Can I just ask a question on that slide real quick? So these are the ads that are currently just going in the Daily News?
Yep, there's nothing we place in the Aspen
The
Times.
ones that we do in both are really the public service, like
Those are just
wildfire.
PSAs and stuff, right?
They're more emergency, the other ones like...
You've granted us access to Aspen Times should there be an emergency. Election is the thing that's most steady. Anything that's a public notice on election and access to elections
in both.
goes in both.
This would be expanding that too. Okay.
Yeah, and
These would be paid ads, whereas a lot of the stuff that you're talking about is public service stuff.
or
You know
letters.
what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah, I do know what you mean, but I think we do pay for some of our public service announcements.
And when we switch fire restrictions, for instance, which stage we're in, that I think we consider that to be under your allowance of that's for public safety and public emergency, whereas sign up for getting noticed that there's, when there's a restriction, we haven't advertised something like that because that's an internal campaign where we've been directed to give advertising dollars, not just to the Aspen Daily News. We spend it on social media, Paid Boost, some other publications throughout the community, but we do not currently spend them with the Ogden and Aspen Times affiliates. This is not necessarily for you to consume in real time right now, but the Aspen Times was very helpful in just giving me some information about their various outlets and kind of eyes on, both the print on a daily and weekly basis, their web traffic, their subscribers to kind of like a news roundup through different newsletters, their social media. And then as the memo pointed out, there's a couple of demographic specific publications that they have, both the Snowmass Sun, Glenwood Post Independent, and then the RAFTA advertising within the bus for commuters. So those are just some, would add variety to the options of places we could place ads. And then they also have classifieds and job postings. And so we've heard from some HR business partners of getting more regional spread on some of our job postings into the Colorado River Valley as well. And that is essentially the whole of my information for you, but I'm happy to answer questions or provide whatever I can during discourse. And I can stop there.
So we could expand this to both papers, the regular advertising, and that what would the budgetary impact be if we ran them in both papers at the same time? So we wouldn't be saying, oh, we're only going to run this in the Times and this in the Daily, and you get it this week and you get it that week. I don't want to confuse the public. I would rather find a way that we could have our regular like the slide that you showed, in both papers rather than just in the one. because I think we've done a good job. I know where this discussion started. I think a lot of that issue is being resolved. We had a board member who was pretty adamant about it, and she's no longer with us. I think it's time we expand our horizons, especially what I think is critical is getting people involved in the community, bottom line, with senior services, with community events, and with recruitment of employees. We need to really be able to reach out to the broader scope of, not just within our little boundary of the city of Aspen or even the Pickens County, but, to other areas where we might have great potential candidates.
Did you ask what the budgetary impact would be?
Yeah, would be if we ran them in both papers rather than flipping them. Well, we'll run the library ads in their paper and we'll write the human health services here. And, I want the public to be involved and not be confused.
What would the budgetary impact be?
So my advice to a department, and each department has their own marketing dollars that they have discretion over how they spend. They come to the community relations department to talk about strategy and tactics as far as what their end goal is for having a campaign of any sort. So we would advise them, here's who you have access to when you utilize these different ads at this different price. And then ultimately it's up to the person who is conducting the campaign to decide where. I do want to speak up for both papers. Obviously, they both have actually worldwide reach through their website and just Aspen loyalists in general who love to keep reading both papers, even if they've only come once. And so I think the spread would come down to those specifics of, are we holding a airport outreach event in Snowmass at their town hall, but not putting it in the Snowmass Sun, right? So, and if we were advising a department on an audience they'd like to reach, that would be in the list of what we advise them, and it's up to them if they want to spend the money or not. You actually have the discretion over the marketing dollars ultimately because you approve each department's budget each year, so this would not increase any spend. They'd have to
This year.
choose from the menu of options up to what they had allocated for the spend in general.
We could reconsider it for
We
next
could
year's
allocate more
budget.
next year for.
And if there was some pressing need or something, we could find a way to find funding for it.
And what I'm hearing is that you'd appreciate a tactic where from now on we think, okay, and I think the publishers can speak to this better than me, but I think there are loyalists who maybe pick up a Times every day, never the daily, and vice versa. I think most of our very highly media literate community picks up both, plus gets the alerts, plus gets the newsletters. And of course, Aspen Public Radio is part of the media landscape as well. There's a variety of ways that people get their information. So maybe a Monday, Wednesday, Friday in one, a Tuesday, Thursday, you're getting your loyalists and you're getting your people who slept in on Monday and didn't pick up their paper. So I think this would just add to the variety of what we recommend, but we wouldn't say spend more. Put everything that you were always going to put in one basket, double that and put it in a second basket. I think we would just say, look how many baskets you have.
And then for next year's budget, we can reconsider and say, well, this didn't work, this worked really well, we had more community involvement, more comments from community members. The other thing real quick is that, I'm going to point this at the Aspen Times, we need to have the newspaper in the newspaper boxes. So sometimes we don't get them here, or we only get this many at my neighborhood corner, and we fight over them when we get there. Because the daily stocks
I
those.
believe I mentioned that before.
But he says he's filling them up.
Well,
when I
Have to
come
up-
here,
We have to invite them up. if
yeah,
they're
come
gonna-
on up to the table. And come on up, introduce yourself for the public.
Thanks. Nice to meet you. This is my first time with you all.
Red light is on.
I'm Sarah Gerges, publisher of the Aspen Times. No, I hear this a lot. And trust me, I am on my circulation team, and they've assured me they're filling them up. It's just people are showing up, sometimes at 5:30 in the morning, waiting for the delivery to grab them. So I will tell them to
The ones we get here,
make more.
I don't come at 8 o'clock. I come
That's
at
right.
9 or 10. I never, once a
There's-
week, maybe I get a Aspen Times.
All right, well, I'll make sure that they drop off extras.
Daily's really good about making sure that the box in my neighborhood is stocked because it's a hot spot.
Yeah.
People jogging by, people stopping, people driving from other parts of the east end of Aspen to come through there to get the papers. And if I get there a little late, I get my one newspaper, which I read, and I always want to know what's going on the other side, so.
totally
Great.
heard and fair.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I think this is good. It's time that we did this. It's fair, and it's the right thing to do. My only comment would be to both papers, that I feel as if we can't afford to have copy editors any longer or do fact checking. And that's a comment unrelated to this conversation, but it just drives me crazy if a name is gotten wrong or an attribution or, and it happens. We know it happens, but it seems like it happens more frequently now. And it's probably an economic decision that you just don't have the manpower or maybe AI is doing it. I don't know.
We definitely don't use AI. I'm just going to
well, you
say
probably
that on
will
the
at some
record.
point.
We do not.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, the reality is it's harder and harder to
You're
keep a
answering
news.
for both papers right now.
Yeah, well, they can talk for themselves, but in our case, look, it's getting more and more expensive to run a newspaper, and that's just the reality. We're seeing it across the country, unfortunately, even, big newspapers like the Washington Post. We do have a copy editor. We actually have two, but 7 days a week, very small staff. It's very hard to recruit. We're trying to hire 2 reporters right now. Hard to get people to move here. It's very expensive. So it's a much larger issue. Obviously, we do our best to not make mistakes. When we do, all we can do is say, hey, we're sorry, and we're happy to correct it.
Well, I think what's nice is that often if anybody makes one and we spot it, we can get it changed in the digital before the print goes out.
Yeah, exactly. And so
Yeah.
I totally understand your frustration. I never want to see a mistake. We're doing the best we can with a very small staff.
Right, and always a new flow of journalists coming who don't know names or don't know yeah.
That's right.
It takes
That's
a while.
right. Yeah, it's hard to recruit. I mean, look, right now I have great applicants for the 2 jobs I do have. Kids coming out of Columbia, out of Missouri, out of Kansas. The best journalism schools in the country. They want to be here, but
Where do you
then
live?
they start looking at housing, and it becomes a different conversation. So it's not that we are pulling back or not hiring people for these positions. It's just trying to get the right people here that can live here.
Right, good, yeah, good luck with all that.
Yeah, thank you.
We do have.
Thank you for
yeah,
coming in. Thank you, Alycin.
Yeah.
Well, I supported the board's decision those years ago. I didn't want to support it. And one of the few times I think I've had a tear fall at the table, because to me, the Aspen Times has spoken for Aspen for a really long time. I mean, when I was in college and I used to come up, so I was-
145 years.
What?
145 years. We
Yeah.
just celebrated.
That's
I wrote
older
a
than
story
I-
about it, and there's a bigger story about it in our upcoming summer magazine.
Well, that's
so.
great. Yeah. So anyway, for me, it was tied to Aspen. So I'm really happy that we were able to reconsider and move forward with you.
Well, for me, it was tied to my husband and his family selling the Aspen Times on Fridays and lining up outside the Red Onion, because they knew they could always get good tips in there.
We are
Did
incredibly.
you do that too? Did you sell the Times?
You'd line up out behind the Times, get your papers, and then run across town, and I'd go to the Wheeler Opera House and the pub, and they would give you $1 and not ask for change.
Yeah, see, so they made
That's
great
Lorenzo
money then.
tells us
And
that
then
story.
going into the office the next day and getting copies for my fireplace.
Yeah. I hear you. Look, double use.
recyc-
We don't like
it is-
waste.
She
It's
recycled way
amazing
back.
that we live in a community that has news outlets
Yeah.
in access. It's
We're
incredible.
very, very lucky, and it's very rare. We're only one of 12 communities in America that have 2 daily newspapers. So that's big and small.
And likely the smallest.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
likely the smallest.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
They both spell my name right whenever I get a quote in the paper. I appreciate that.
okay. Well, thank you
And
so
we should
much for
fly
your
again
time.
sometime.
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
I'd love to.
Great
Yeah.
to see you.
You too.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks.
So this was administrative direction from the get. I think there was a vote just because I went back and watched, but of course it's a work session, so I think just hearing from you as to,
We
Thumbs
can
up.
give you direction to open it up.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, let's move on.
lovely, thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
And maybe look for retirees who already have a home here.
Trust me.
Which one replaced Bill Dunaway?
I have my back neighbor writing for us now.
Okay.
She goes out in the neighborhood and-
I'm doing it. I'm doing whatever I can.
Yeah, I'm in the process of renting out my downstairs apartment, and there are a lot of people who would like it. So, we're a little early. Would you guys like to take a break? But I think our next team is here.
I think we can go.
Great, because we have got 2 people upstairs.
Okay,
Oh.
all right, let's take a
Well,
5-minute break.
How long did it take him?
It's
Get him
2:23.
down here.
I just texted them.
But I
Let's,
do
let's
wanna
come
try
back
to
at
be-
2:25.
2:20.
2:25.
Had a gentleman contact me who has short-term rental housing.
Bye, Megan. Nice to see you. Welcome back on Tuesday, June 2nd to the work session of the Picken County Commissioners. We are moving on to a discussion of Runway Construction Manager at Risk introduction. We have Diane Jackson and Ryan Mahoney with us, and GR Fielding. Hi, GR.
Hi. Okay, we ready? Great. So we have Ryan Conan from Kiewit here today. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the enabling work that we might see, and then work beyond that in 2027 to complete the reconstruction of the runway. And then we also have Joe Christie and GR here from Jacobson Daniels, and they'll fill in as needed with any follow-up questions. So I think without further ado.
Well, thank you for having us. We're very excited to be part of this project. And so I want to first start with just introducing our key staff. Pete Remington's the project manager. Key or fun fact about him is he was on the 2007 work at Aspen County Airport, or Picken County Airport, sorry. He has about 20 plus years of experience with Kiewit and has really been dialed in the last couple of years with alternative delivery type projects, including in Montana and in Vail. Then myself, I'm 11 years with Kiewit. I've started out with some smaller airport type stuff in the Springs and around the state in Granby, in La Junta, in Grand Junction. On that, and then I moved over to the roadway for a little bit, and I've been on Vail Pass for the last 3 years that you guys have probably driven by kind of deal. So that's my background. And then Jeremiah is our pre-con manager, and he has experience in Phoenix. He's about a 15 plus year guy. Phoenix or Sky Harbor has a lot of CMAR type work for the FAA, so he's very experienced on just getting grants and all that squared away or being accessible there. So that's him. And then Megan Wood is our sustainability manager. She started out her career with CDPHE. I had about 5 years with CDPHE and then came over to Kiewit about 6 years ago. So she has a lot of experience on that side of the world, and helps us with permitting, and then helps us making sure that we're following those permits to a T. The last couple of years with her, she's been up at Vail with me, a very, very sustainable and very stormwater focused job, being on the top of the pass there. And then she started her career with Kiewit at Central 70 down in Denver when we were expanding that. And last is our executive oversight, Jason Proskovic. He's our Rocky Mountain area manager. Really his role on the job is really to support the four that I just mentioned, and making sure that this job has the support and resources it needs across the whole Kiewit entities, not just in Colorado, but making sure that this goes off without a hitch, and anything that we may need, he has that support at his disposal. So going into that, I wanted to really explain Kiewit a little bit. For those that do know or don't know, we're a fairly large company, construction company. We're one of the largest in the United States and across Mexico and Canada. We dabble in a lot of different things. As you may know, we're pursuing the terminal side of this as well. But I really wanted to focus on what this district, what this portion of Kiewit does. So we've been in Colorado a little over 90 years. We've helped build a lot of Colorado's infrastructure, as you can see over on the left, including Vail Pass that Pete, myself, and Megan have been a part of the last several years. As I mentioned, Pete was part of the runway rehab back in 2007. And then we've done some stuff in Glenwood, Big Thompson, when those repairs or that flood went through. We did the emergency work as well as the permanent work there. So we have a lot of experience in Colorado in the mountains, in these different corridors here. The middle table you can see there is just a little bit of our craft and staff in Colorado. We have a lot of different parts and pieces, especially on the Front Range. Moving on right now, we're all over Colorado is maybe the right way to put it. And then this entity of Kiewit, I wanted to walk through what we would self-perform, what we typically self-perform. We do a lot of earth moving, so that's the plan for this project, is to move a lot of the earth that's required. We do all the drainage type stuff, so under drain, and then the permanent drainage structures across the runway, and then we do asphalt paving as well. We have a lot of experience in updating that, and so that's really the main parts of this project, and I think that's one of the reasons why we were able to be successful in winning this. Last, I wanted to talk through some of our airport experience in these three projects.
Let me ask you a quick question before you go on, if you don't mind.
No problem.
So when you say asphalt work, I'm assuming that means concrete and everything that's under the asphalt?
As well.
Okay.
Grading
Yeah.
all the grading work underneath as well. So the P209 or the base course type stuff, we also do.
Yes. Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. So the three projects on the left are near and dear to this team. The top one, like I said, was what Pete was a part of back in 2007. The middle one, Colorado Springs Runway, we had a 90-day shutdown that we had completed ahead of schedule. I was the project manager for that one back in 2021. And then Jeremiah led all of the pre-con efforts for Taxiway U, a pretty unique job for Sky Harbor or City of Phoenix, where they're building a bridge taxiway to get to some of their new built runways, and so that was a pretty heavily intense pre-con job that Jeremiah has a lot of experience in. So now I wanted to talk through some of our approach to this project specifically. One, really what we've been doing the last several weeks or month or so is collaborating and getting involved with the team that's already been here. Jacobs and Daniels, or the PMT team, as well as Kimley Horn, the designer, is really getting collaborated in a one team aligned approach to them. We think that is very, very important to the success of this job, and I think we're well on our way with all the meetings we've had in the last several weeks. Next, really our experience with alternative delivery or general contractor getting involved early into design and all that is really driving that pre-construction period is ultimately what's successful of the job of being more efficient, whether it's schedule, budget, or both. Bringing up our ideas and our experience in the field to that early on, where it's not quite as detrimental to design or anything like that's pretty important. And so being able to do that with this job or with this project's pretty important. Of, long story short, putting our best foot to the table on all these different discussions when it comes to task force meetings and constructability reviews and things like that. Next is really safety. Our motto with Kiewit is nobody gets hurt, and when we say that, we mean everybody, or nobody, maybe is the right way to put it. We don't just mean our crews, our craft, our subs. We mean community, we mean all that. We know we're going to impact State Highway 82. We know we're going to impact Owl Creek and the trail that goes along that, and taking that into mind with our operations and making sure that we're protecting the community as well as our own people, and everything we do is very important, and that's built and distilled into our culture. Next is really the end user at the end of the day, is bringing in a high quality product at the end of the day that everybody's proud of, especially us. And long story short, there's an asphalt runway at the end of the day. What's important is hitting an elevation and making it as smooth as possible. Something that's very maintainable, and you're not having to rip it up 10 years down the road. It lasts a long time. And so we build that into our schedule, and we build that into our processes to make sure that end user and products built in at the end of the day. Another thing that's pretty unique to this job, and I do have experience working in Vail of this, is we know that the 100 people or the 80 people that it'll take for this year's work, and the 150 plus that'll be next year, aren't all in town or aren't all local. We wish it would be that way, but it's obviously not. And so being able to mobilize that, and then also understand how to house them, understand the impact on State Highway 82 of that is pretty important to this community and trying to limit that. So we've already reached out for housing partnerships of hotels and all that. We think that would be, while the runway shut down, that's pretty important to the community of maybe some of the travel or some of the tourists are down a little bit, knowing that we can pick that up from a construction standpoint and point our crews into different housing opportunities and partnerships is important. So we've reached out already to 12 different hotels and condominiums, negotiated some room blocks, and we're open to more of that. And then we've also reached out to RAFTA to understand if they're capable of picking up or moving spots to be able to pick up our workforce, so we can try and limit some of the traffic that goes on State Highway 82, knowing that this is going to be a big deal. So we've started that early branch. We're by no means done, but we know that this is a very important topic to this community.
And will you run vans from some of the hotels to carry several people at a time, or that kind of thing?
Right now, it sounds like RAFTA will be able to stop at wherever most of our housing or most of our workforce is going to be. It sounds like they're very accommodating to adjusting some routes, and so once we get a little bit more of that, we'll understand a little bit more.
That's interesting. Greg?
And just as a side note on that, and I already talked with Ryan about it, I've been contacted so far by one person in the community, and I'm sure when word gets out, I'll hear from more, who has some short-term rental opportunities in the Upper Valley, would like to talk about maybe renting them long-term during the construction phases. So any of those contacts any of us may hear, we can pass them on to Ryan or to staff and start a list and start calling. And I think that's a real positive for the community, for people who would like to see the short-term rentals in their neighborhoods be rented long-term, at least for a couple of years. So it's a great chance for us.
I get the impression from this that you've already secured your housing, though. You guys are in good shape.
We are in decent shape as far as contact. We have not finalized anything by any means. So if there's anybody out there that has, even if it's only one unit, just let us know. We have a lot of people that need some housing over the next couple of years.
You said 80 people this year?
About 80. We're tracking 80 people this year, and then 150 or so next year.
Wow, it's a big addition to the community.
For a worthy cause.
Food trucks? What do you do about lunch and stuff? They bring their own? What do you do?
A lot of them bring their own. Some we barbecue for major milestones and things like that.
That's another point. I've also been contacted by 2, and I'm working on a 3rd of the local restaurants who want to look at either this year and probably next year splitting up when we go 24/7, which we'll do, I think, in April of next year, trying to split up food opportunities and split it up within the community. So that's a good economics for the community during airport shutdowns. Okay, you guys might not have as many people in your restaurant, but you're going to have to make more food than you usually do. So
looks like Diane wants to say something about
I should
this.
send those on
is
to
also
you.
very interested in that. When they did their renewal, they actually said that they would be able to bring a food truck too, so we're able to keep some of those team members that are in the airport going as well during that
I've
time.
got like Hickory House and the golf course and probably home team that might want to jump on board.
What about Jedediah's?
They would bring their food truck up.
They would have a food
They
truck.
were heavily involved right from the get-go with the renewal just for that, which is an excellent opportunity for them and to keep our local team members here and
Great.
employed.
And then last but not least, and probably one of the most important is guaranteeing or schedule certainty during a shutdown. It's one runway, one shutdown, and one shot of it. I think we're in a pretty good spot of that, and maybe I'll explain our process a little bit. Is we're a production-based company. What that means is we track every quantity, every man-hour it takes to put in across any project that Kiewit does over the last century or so. We have that kind of status or that kind of data and that kind of backup. And then with technology these days, it only enhances it. And so what I'm really getting at is as we're developing design and things like that, we're really understanding what that does to schedule before we even take a shutdown. And so based on what we have right now, we're very, very confident that we can get the shutdown done on time or ahead.
I hope so, because that is crucially important to this community. We are a very season-based community, as you know, so you can't imagine how many questions we're already getting. And everybody says, oh, there's no way they'll be done on November 19th.
I said there's every way they will be done, and Kiewit has a great reputation, as I've checked on them with my family members who are in the business of getting things done either on or ahead of time. I didn't ask about budget because we don't know from day to day what's happening with our budgets. Could go up, might go down. This is a great opportunity to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So wanted to go in a little bit of what really this year's schedule and next year's schedule looks like. And so 2026 is all about minimizing risk and really setting us up on the right foot for next year. So I'll explain really the diagram first so that you see all the pretty colors. We split out into different phases or different areas. The red is really establishing our haul route. So the thought, again, left of the screen is north, as I'm sure everybody knows. Establishing our haul route, what's important here is what we're trying to do. All of our sources as far as aggregates and materials are coming from the north on State Highway 82 or going southbound. We'll come in north of the airport, and then they'll loop around Owl Creek, hit the light at Owl Creek in State Highway 82, and then turn left to head back north.
Wait, would you say that again?
Do you want to
Is
just
that after they've dumped the
follow
load,
them?
or?
Yep.
Okay, just that.
Okay, so they come in
left out
before the airport when they're
Come
coming
in
up that
before
way.
the airport, and then they'll leave basically after the
Out
airport.
Owl Creek. Oh, I see.
So there's no left turn onto Highway 82 except where there's a signal.
So we think this is important. Being here a little bit more and more is obviously there's some congestion at the light there. So eliminating construction traffic before that or not contributing to that is pretty important. And then turning left back on a State Highway 82 at a protected light is also very important to the public. So being able to establish that is that. So that's what the red is. And then also at the north end, right now it shows a stockpile, but what the plan is there is our construction trailers, parking, and then some material laydown in that big.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
That's what's happening. Okay.
Yeah. So towards the left of the screen is towards Brush Creek. Towards the right is Buttermilk. Right in the middle, there's kind of this blue cyan color, and then right below that is what we call the boneyard, right? Originally, we were looking at that area for some of the construction trailers, but we would have to dig out a decent-sized hill to facilitate a lot of that with all the laydown and all the other things happening. And so one of the ideas that Kiewit brought was maybe we don't touch that first thing, and we put our construction trailers right out at that north end, near where the lights are that are on poles. It'd be just up from that, on the north side of the airport.
Is that in the deep red zone or in the?
Yeah, basically that deep red, and then the cyan that's right next to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could you talk about just how that geography is going to change on that end? Because I get a sense there's going to be a berm that's going to help level out the airport runway.
Yes.
And it's going to be substantial, and that's what people are going to see. And I think we ought to tee that up with the public now.
Right, and so there's probably a couple things there, Greg. There's short term, and then there's ultimate build out. Short term, what they'll see is some material storage, some parking, and some construction trailers. Where the new poles will go up that have the Malsif lights, those are the flashing lights up tall on the poles. Those will go up about 10, 15 feet higher in the air. It should actually be less of a distraction for drivers as they're further away from them. Yeah. And then they'll be 80 feet over from where they are today. So that part will be bermed up, and that north end of the runway will be about 9.5 feet higher than what it is today.
Okay, it's only 9.5 feet.
Yes.
Okay, 10 feet's not. I was thinking, wow, how
To try and level that out.
And then depending on how all of the earthwork plays out amongst your entire program, we are looking at that field as an opportunity to keep all of our material on site. So what we would like to do is, right now there's a bit of a low spot in there. We'd like to regrade basically from the highway going back up the hill, ultimately, and store as much of that material on site so it doesn't have to go off site.
Where's the fill dirt gonna come from? Well, I mean, if you're going up 9 feet in that whole area, that's a lot of dirt.
Oh, the fill is coming from on site.
We're trying to keep it
Just
all
moving
inside.
it from somewhere
Yeah,
else.
so a lot of things are, there's a
Tearing
lot
up
of
all the
balancing.
grass.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of balancing that'll go on that, where the Owl Creek Road shift is happening. A lot of that material gets dug out. A lot of that will end up on that north end of the runway.
I see. Mhm.
Yeah, and there's a very large exercise in balancing earthwork and figuring out how we can do it and touch it one time.
That's
That's
awesome.
one of the things that Ryan and his team has brought is, hey, if we actually change a couple of these phases, then we can only touch it once, and it's better just to touch the material
Heck
once
yeah.
if you can. And so that's a lot of what we're doing to try to shore up the design right now. And that's why it's so valuable to have the CMAR on,
Yeah,
is so that they can give that sort of input.
yeah, for
I
sure.
think Diane's too.
I was going to say, if I just may add something too, just for clarification with everyone. When we're talking about 26 work, we're still staying open. So if you see that RSA, the runway safety area line and the bordering, all of their
The-
work is done outside that
What-
safety area.
what line?
We can't point. So just under the cyan color on the north end,
Yeah.
you'll see an RSA. It says RSA. That's our runway safety area. We can't do work in that
Oh,
area.
there it is, Ren's.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Thank you.
It's okay.
That box.
And
So
see-
all of this work is being done
RSA.
outside.
Okay, now I see it,
Nothing
yeah.
happened.
All right,
with
here we
So-
go.
People are asking us how we're gonna do this with
got it.
keeping the
Look
airport
at
open.
that,
Finally
like-
worked.
Keeping the
Maybe using
airport
a slide.
open. So 26, all of this work,
Sorry.
critical with Hewitt too, is keeping it outside the safety
Well,
area.
then
So that
people-
whole route is outside the safety area as
Then,
well.
then some people ask, well, if you can do it for this, why can't you keep the airport open for the rest of the project? I'm like, because we're taking out the runway.
That's the
Yeah.
next slide.
Duh.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so you go on half and half? I don't think so.
Yeah, but I think also what GR said is true. We're trying to balance earthwork on the entire site. So from the terminal and landside area too, that material can go in on this west side, northwest corner, if you will. And there may be more available fill area for when that future west side development happens, sometime many years from now. It should be able to be accommodated here on site. So that was a big push with the design team, is to make this whole project balanced.
Well, and we who also run the landfill appreciate that.
Yeah.
So moving on a little bit, I'll explain a couple more areas here. So the orange area is where batch plant is going to go. That's the hay field. I'm assuming everybody knows what that means or sees that. So the plan for that is to establish the footprint for this year. Obviously, that's very needed for next year's work, and then to restore that fully into what you see it today after we're said and done in 2027.
So you'll tear up that field soon.
Yes.
We'll hear about that.
So that's I'm sure.
Soon.
We'll hear about the elk and the whole thing. We'll hear plenty about it.
The purple is AOC. There's some parking lot improvements and gate improvements there that we'll also do. The darker blue area is a water line that has to get shifted. That's this year work. The yellow is the Owl Creek Road shift. So the plan there is to alternate traffic on one lane. So set up traffic lights to alternate it in one lane of traffic while we build the new, and then flip them into the new configuration or the new alignment, and then alternate them until we're done. And then you can barely see the green, but there's a couple walls on the green, in the green there, that needs to be constructed along with Owl Creek there. So
Between the bike path and the Owl Creek shift and the,
So-
how high are those retaining walls?
So the walls will be below Owl Creek Road and below the trail. And in between that and the vehicle service road that circumnavigates the airport, because of the runway shift of 80 feet, the teacup also has to shift 80 feet, and it also gets that same additional 80 feet in separation. And so that will look a little bit different there. And then if you're next time you're driving down Owl Creek Road, when you look you look down pretty significantly at that teacup, well, that will stay at about the same elevation. And Owl Creek Road will actually come up a little bit to match the hillside next to it.
So they're between 5 and 10 feet
I used to
tall.
walk that a lot, so I'm really familiar with that neck of the woods.
And then the
The wetlands is there.
just to clarify, trail will stay open.
Right, people have been
throughout
asking about that.
So, yep.
And so next year, when people are coming down Owl Creek, it'll be done, right?
Yes.
Correct. So overall schedule really for this year is we plan to mobilize in July and then finish the work right around Thanksgiving or shortly right after. With really everything we just mentioned. The one last thing we haven't mentioned is there's some material stockpiling that we'll do this year for really next year work. So the base course that you asked about earlier, we will bring in a lot of material there. Some of the aggregates for the asphalt that we'll have to make we'll also bring in, and that's really to de-risk the job from a supply standpoint, where we're not really having to wait for a supplier to make it make it off-site and bring it in.
So where are we gonna, it's a batch plant, right? Where are we gonna put that? In
That's
that
That's the
cyan or whatever?
No, it's
the
an
orange?
orange field.
It's the orange.
Okay,
Yeah, kind of right where the pointer is.
okay.
So you like take the old Owl Creek Road and grind it up, and then you take the runway and grind it up and take it to the batch plant and make new asphalt and stuff with it?
Some of it there, and then some of it will be incorporated in the new base course underneath the new.
Oh.
It's really good material for basically building a foundation off of. So that's a lot of it will be the new foundation for the new runway. Or
But do
road.
you do a cement layer before you do the final top? No?
No,
No cement.
we're gonna.
It's all aggregate stuff?
It's all different types of aggregate, and they're all different specifications for those
yeah?
aggregate. And so the material that Ryan's talking about bringing in to help de-risk is basically that last layer of aggregate that you put right underneath the asphalt. And that's got a very specific FAA specification and how you treat it, and what
The size of
the
the
size and
pieces.
how fractured it is and how flat the faces are and all that type of stuff.
But you're gonna do those, you're gonna meet those specifications on site, or that's what you're gonna
That's
bring in?
Those are the materials that will likely have to be brought in.
I see.
Yeah.
And stockpiled ahead of time.
Yes.
So what about water? And what happens if we hit the aquifer that we know might be lying underneath the runway?
How do we avoid our current problems?
Yeah.
So Hewitt and the PMT and ASC's had a number of different conversations with the design team on how to de-risk that item and whether or not there's a treatment that we put into the plans on a as-needed basis.
What do you mean?
So,
What kind of treatment?
So you can do when you hit different types of soils, you can do things like lime treat or cement treat that soil, and so then you just
So it's not
incorporate the cement.
absorbent?
Yeah, so the cement and that material gets mixed essentially in place and then rolled down, and then that will solidify as like a shrunk base to build upon. You've dealt with this a few times.
Yep. So
But will the water it'll be channeled, right, in some way, piped or?
Well, the new runway will have under drains and a very significant under drain system incorporated into it. So that the whole idea there is that we'll put in a whole new pipe network that's adjacent, and it runs the entire length of the runway. And if water gets into, it's like a French drain type of thing, an under drain. We've used them a lot in a lot of the county roads. The highways have them in a lot of areas, and it'll run that water that is moving through the soil into a pipe, and then that gets piped to the stormwater system.
So we're talking PVC pipe?
Yeah, it's like a small PVC pipe.
Better order it now. It takes a long time to get PVC pipe.
Or anything else.
Yeah, or anything else these days. So, do you have another slide?
We
with
do
the
have
time?
one for the 2027 shutdown.
So before we get to that, that's 27.
Yep.
A 26 question, when are we putting a shovel in the ground?
July.
When? Okay.
So that's,
Calendar's Patty.
I better be here for
so
that.
we go after that.
No,
We go before that?
I think we'll probably do something with you all before that.
Okay. We can,
or
it's our dirt, we
groundbreaking or
can
something
put a
like that,
shovel
yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
Without, how much dirt do we have to move in order to have a permit?
50
yards.
yards. Yeah.
We only have to begin.
Yeah.
We just, one shovel here and one shovel there, and a few Ziploc bags.
All right.
This is exciting.
Oh, it's incredibly exciting.
So then moving into 27. So as I mentioned, 26 is really establishing our footprint and really de-risking as much as we can without impacting airport operations.
I
before
forgot
we.
one question about
Yep.
26.
Yep.
Like a 10-hour day every day, or
We're in right now 6 days at about 12 hours a day. We do.
so no lights, no night lights.
Right now, no. That's as makeup if we get substantial weather or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
The night work comes in 27.
Yeah, great.
The only
Wonderful.
other
Thank you.
thing that we've talked about, maybe a little bit of night work, is for tie-overs.
Yep. Utility cutovers.
Utility cutovers, tie-overs on the road and the trail. Things like that would be like if we can't do it at a time where that's convenient kind of
So
thing.
less use on the road is a good time
Minimize
to
the
do what you need to
impacts.
do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've looked at some of those too.
We have to give permits for that?
Oh, yeah.
We'll work, the board has granted as far as night work, kind of a blanket variance to the noise ordinance.
An as-needed
And the noise
variance.
code, and so we'll work with the environmental health department on specific times where we need to exercise that and come up with some good conditions on that.
Okay, because we'll hear about that too.
Yes.
Oh, so we're only going to 6 days a week? Unless we need an extra day?
We have in our schedule, this is a built-in contingency. So in our schedule, we schedule at 6 days of production, knowing that whether it's weather, whether it's we don't meet production for a day or whatnot, Sunday's a makeup day for whatever's needed of that. This is a practice we've done on Vail, another seasonal type job. That's pretty. That practice works pretty well. And so that's what that means is we're in at 6 days worth of production on the critical path work. It's night work. So like earthworks, one of the critical path items, we're days and nights on that. If we get behind, if we need to move 20,000 yards in a shift and we only move 15, Sunday we're moving the additional 5 or more.
How often does that happen?
It happens.
Yeah, I think we should publish that you're going to be working every day.
So yeah, and so I'd plan on us from a public standpoint,
Yeah.
we're working 7 days a week,
Yeah.
24/7.
But you may get a break on Easter Sunday.
So yeah, we'll see. We
That'd
were
be-
We'll
paving
see.
Top Gun. We paved Father's Day, so and it was our best day yet. So
Speaking of Easter Sunday,
July
that
4th,
looks
you
like
work July
Easter.
4th?
Yeah.
Little
July
Easter egg
4th,
colors.
we were done paving at that point, so we were done. But
No, I
for
mean
that
this year.
job, this year we won't work July 4th, but
Okay.
2027 we could.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Crazy day around here.
But yeah, some key dates here. So as you can see, basically the whole airfield of the airport, I should say, we basically remove and replace here. All of the taxiway connectors, the teacup that GR was talking about earlier, and the whole runway, we completely remove that. There's quite a bit of dirt work that's needed. So on the south end, there is a little bit of cut, and then on the north end, the embankment we've talked about, we move all that, change that whole grade there or elevation there, and then we build back the whole runway. Lights, drainage, all of that included, and that's really the 2027 work. So key dates there that I'll talk through. We'll get in a little bit beforehand, so there is a winter shutdown from 26 to 27. It'll be December-ish, and then we'll come back sometime late February, early March, just to make sure that we're ready, and then shutdown is April 5th.
You'll have a shutdown in December?
we'll have a winter hiatus maybe from a construction standpoint. Let me say
Not
it
from
that
the
way.
airlines.
Not from airlines or
Oh,
anything
okay.
like that. A winter hiatus of
We're
obviously
getting a little nervous
no
about this.
no construction from December to about February, early March.
Okay, and when you're tearing up the runway, how cacophonous is that? Is it just like total roaring sound all the time?
No, if you're close by, yes, but from State Highway 82, if you're standing on that, the trucks and the traffic on State Highway 82 will be louder than what we're doing on the runway.
And the batch plant, how loud is that?
Batch plant, when we're full place, rocking and rolling, same thing. You won't hear it from State Highway 82.
It's under
if you're right
50
next
decibels?
if you're right next to it, it'll be louder than that. But if the normal passerby and traveling public won't hear it.
Those are the days you don't put on hearing aids. I'm still excited about it.
No, and then last is the committed dates, November 19th. That's the Friday before Thanksgiving. Kiewit will honor that date or ahead.
Yeah, we'll be out there with our big ribbon, big scissors.
Perfect.
Can I come?
Can you cut?
No, can I come? I don't need to cut it, but I would like to be there.
Oh, okay, you can be there.
Thank you. Did you hear that, everybody?
We'll put in one plug for Kiewit too. You worked with us very well.
I can't hear you.
Kiewit did a great job in working with us on that closure date for our disabled vets. So
Yeah.
I know that was a huge concern with this community as well as Snowmass. And thanks to working in a close partnership, we were able to accommodate DAV, which is why the April 5th date. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that as well, that you worked hand in hand with us, and we really appreciate it because I know that's a huge event for the community, and it just was not an easy task to move veterans around that were disabled to other airports. So we're very excited. So thank you.
Thank you.
Publicly for that, being able to work with that.
Well, hopefully we'll be experiencing spring blizzards in early April anyway, so.
And last was just highlight on a couple keys to success. I mentioned the early team alignment and collaboration. Teams well on their way there. We talked a little bit about incorporating the existing materials into final design. This is a huge budget item and sustainability item in the teams had an alternative, and now it's part of the final design of that. That's a huge step in the right direction there. I talked about the 2026 season, setting it up for 2027, our one shutdown, one shot. And then last is absolute schedule certainty. So I didn't really talk a whole lot, but part of Kiewit's processes is tracking on a daily basis, hourly and daily basis, as far as different charts and graphs and things like that. And basically, if one of those don't tell us the right thing, we overreact very quickly to that. And that's whether it's bringing additional resources, crews, signing up a different supplier, whatever it may be. We're in a very good position to make sure that we track and we're getting done every day what we need to get done or more. And if we don't, we're going to react to that very quickly. So that's the keys to success here.
Do we have incentives built in for if you get it done in 6 months or 7 months?
Incentives for us.
Or 8 months?
The hard thing with incentives on a runway project is that most of the schedules are out now that we have started to publish our work dates.
Oh, right.
So there's not a lot of additional traffic that we can necessarily bring in early.
Except for private, GA.
Yes.
Well, we could figure that out. Well, no, they can figure it
Yeah,
out.
we're gonna tell the public that we're gonna finish early and pay an extra bonus so that GA can come in. They'll love it.
That would go over really well. I see your point. Well made, Frankie.
Yeah, so there are no official incentives at
If
this
you finish
time.
on time, I'll buy you an ice cream cone.
Okay, that's my incentive. Thank you for planning this project when I'm out of office, by the way. Francie will be chairing the board next year. And please take Michaela, I'm looking at you, and Ryan, take my name off as the first name, because I won't be here, and people always seem to find me.
They'll find your phone number.
They'll find you
Find me
anyway.
anyway. I live right here in town, so I get it all. I am excited. Thank you.
we're very excited too. So thank you for having us.
Glad you came in. Thanks for that.
I still can't get used to you not representing the county when you come and sit at the table. It's so weird.
Still working full-time for you, Francie.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it.
But we know where to find him too.
Just come out to the AOC. I'm there almost every day.
I can vouch for that.
He hasn't gone far.
Well, thank you all very much. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good
So
to
will
see
you
you.
be living here during this?
I will be boots on the ground. Any hopefully not a whole lot of complaints or whatnot, but if those come to me, any kudos.
You'll hear from us.
Also, yeah.
So do you have a place to live?
We're working through that right now. So
You bringing family with you?
yep. So I have 2 little kids and then a wife, wife of 7 years, 7.5 years now, and then a 2.5-year-old and a 6-month-old. So,
Wow. Yeah.
She's busier than you are.
oh yeah. And so she's a teacher, and this was her last year teaching for a bit. So she's taking a hiatus and traveling wherever wherever I go, kind of deal. And so Aspen for the next two summers isn't a bad place to be.
No, it's
so.
probably going to be all right.
She'll find it's a great community to raise family. She may not be going anywhere after us.
Well, you convinced us you're going to be done on time, so.
We'll tout you in the committee, all of you, as we always do.
And we always need teachers.
Yes.
I love the reuse of the materials. It's
And my
really
daughter
great.
runs a daycare.
Great, thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Good to see you, Joe.
Thanks, guys.
All right, it's time for future agendas. Do we have any changes to our future agenda, Ryan?
The one thing, so future agenda, just a quick reminder that the housing retreat is this Friday, so 9 to noon. And Amy will have breakfast and some snacks.
It's at the
for you
police
all.
station?
It's at the police station, that's right. And doors open at 8:30, so
Okay.
that's when snacks and breakfast will be served for you. That's all I have for future agendas. Well, I'd probably do this one on agenda actually as well, that on 6/23, so June 23rd, our summer interns will sit in on that work session to observe the meeting. If time allows, a few minutes for them to introduce themselves and just give their background. We'll look to put a
Yeah,
little
I
time
wrote
on
to
the
Amy, I
agenda.
thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
If
That's
we can pull
fun.
it off, yeah,
Yeah, it's fun.
that'd be nice.
I guess I'll do this one under joint, or under meetings too. So probably next Tuesday, we'll bring forward the topics for the City of Aspen joint meeting to discuss with this group.
Thank you.
Yeah, that meeting's on the 22nd of June.
It's on a Monday.
God, didn't we just have one?
I know, and the items that
Or
Jeffrey.
was that a special retreat thing?
No, this is our quarterly meeting.
Right, but we just had one. Was that special?
It does seem that way, but Jeffrey kind of told me a draft agenda, and I'm hoping that we have an opportunity to comment.
Yeah, we are
'cause
next
I
week.
want
Yeah,
it to be
Tuesday.
good use of our time, not sit through something we already know.
Was that a different kind of meeting, Greg, that we just had with the city? Well, that was what was that?
We had EOTC was the last
Oh.
time we saw them, and it's probably
That's
been.
right. That's
Jeffrey
right.
will be running this meeting, we will be hosting.
That's what it
Yeah.
was.
We will be hosting. That was the last thing I was going to say. That's right.
Are you're going to bring us the agenda topics that have been brought up so far? Will water cost, water right purchase sharing be part of that? Just
I don't think it's on that.
I don't know.
agenda.
I don't know that was on the list.
It wasn't, but doesn't mean it can't be.
Right.
There's an update on the
I'd like to suggest
roundtable
we put it in
meeting
there.
that just happened that I think the city didn't go, and they wanna, I think there's some things the city hasn't discussed, but we have, and I don't really wanna go to a meeting where we're hearing what we've already heard. I'd rather, if the city needs to hear it, they hear it on their own time. I wanna have a meeting with the city that is topics we all need to hear and that we can do something about. So, but we'll have that
Yeah, we'll talk
discussion.
about it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last thing, I guess this has a tie to meetings too. So next week we'll bring on at the regular meeting an emergency resolution to be able to sign the letter of intent for Cavern Springs for the purchase of that mobile home park.
Oh.
So
Okay.
that I did see an email. Oh, I don't want to steal your thunder, so come
No.
on.
Well, should
I
we
didn't
move
see you
on
back
to,
there, sorry.
is that all the agenda? We can just move on.
I've
to
got
open
agenda
discussion?
items.
Sure.
Wait,
Okay.
wait, I've got
Oh, sorry.
agenda items.
You have an agenda, let's have her agenda item, but
Okay,
stay where
and
you
I
are.
can speak to that.
So our work session on the 9th, we have an executive session. It's terminal financing. Are we going to have an opportunity to talk about Phillips prior to the public hearing on the 10th? Can we ask about that? Do we need to find out, as we did with the P&Z ruling for the airport, we discussed some things in exec? Can we follow up with Rye,
Sure,
maybe?
yeah, we'll
I don't want to
follow
miss
up
the
on
opportunity because we're going to hear Phillips' first read on the 10th,
Mhm.
and there might be some discussion, so I'd like to get it added.
If it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put a note on it.
And there's no start time for our meeting on the 9th. So I don't know if we're adding start times at later dates. Seems that that's a theme through future agendas. Now we don't have a start time for execs. That may be something we fill in at the last minute,
That
but
might be.
we get used to 9:45 and then they start at 10:30, so it'd be nice if, okay, that being said, I also have a request on the 10th regular meeting. Ironic, you just added something. We don't need to add anything else to the 10th. It's a short regular agenda, but it's the first reading of Phillips. And we don't know how long that could be, and I don't want it to be late with the public. And I think we should move Aspen Chapel item before the Phillips item on that agenda. So we put Phillips last on the agenda. And, oh yeah, I also asked about the joint meeting with the city, but you've already planned us to have that discussion.
All done?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Ashley.
Hi. I just wanted to provide more context what Ryan was talking about.
It's hard to hear you.
Oh, great. Get in there. Hi.
Get in there.
Oh, that's great.
Ashley Pearl, Resiliency and Housing Director. I just wanted to give you some context for an emergency ordinance that will be on your regular meeting on Wednesday. The Cavern Springs Mobile Home Park is the last day they have to close on the park for the residents to purchase it is June 13th. And so they have received enough commitments of funding that Thistle Rock is confident moving forward, putting in an offer. So that's really
good
exciting.
to hear.
So they're hoping to put in the offer before the 13th, so sometime next week. In order to do that, they need letters of intent from all the entities who are going to fund them. That's us, because we have expressed interest in funding at a $1.5 million contribution. So we need to bring that to you all so you can sign it. So that'll be
Nothing from Garfield?
yeah, it'll be an emergency resolution on Wednesday, and then
Nothing
we'll
from
look
Garfield?
to the chair to sign it immediately after that meeting. so
Still
we can
nothing
get
from
off.
Garfield County?
Still, as far as I've heard today.
I asked a member of the Garfield County Board of Commissioners if they just put something in so they could have a seat at the table, and it got nowhere.
I know that he supports it, but
Yeah.
not his compatriots.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else for board discussion? Do you have anything, Brian?
Just that you'll see a memo coming out for that, for the housing retreat, either later today or tomorrow. So you'll get a little advanced
Okay.
information for that, so.
I
But otherwise,
did
no.
see the agenda's been filled in, and thank you. It looks like we're actually going to discuss things we haven't discussed for the last 40 years.
Right.
And that it's things that we might be able to really use of value in moving forward with housing.
Anything for
You
board
know,
discussion?
I just wanted to bring up we talked about it briefly in open space with our joint meeting this morning. You know, we've got finally, Rachel and I both on the RAFTA, and you probably as well, have been advocating for safer bike paths, listening to the community on that. And so we've got a coalition working on this new campaign to slow down traffic on the bike paths. And I just want to keep us thinking that if we really want bicycling to be a commuter solution, and as we're going into that season now, we're in the middle of it now, I'm hoping we can spend some energy trying to figure out alternative bikeways, designated bikeways that aren't on the highway and not on the Rio Grande Trail, so that we can have bicycle commuters who can go 25 miles an hour or 20 miles an hour and not be violating the bike path rules, but still be, pressing it to get to work. I think it's possible, and RAFTA knows about it. I'm just thinking the coalition should be working on that as well as we try to slow down bike paths and make them less
Transportation
valuable to commuters.
The Transportation Coalition? Which coalition?
No, there's a group, a safety group that has the school, the county, the city, RAFTA, others are all meeting to talk about making a uniform bike path, speed limits and signage and a policy,
heard about
slow
that.
down, say hi, something like that,
That's
which
on
is
the paper,
great.
yes.
But when I'm trying to ride to work on my bike, I'm not trying to slow down as much as I'm trying to get there. Ryan's just, I don't know what path you take to get here, Rio Grande part of the way, I assume. But a designated bike route may be in our future if we have more and more bike commuters.
Can you ride it on the road?
You can, but it'd be nice if it was a bit safer and there was a designated bikeway.
My daughter-in-law rides her bike to work in Carbondale. She just
On
rides
the road.
the road.
Right, yeah.
Well, she might get on the bike path when she gets down to
Right,
133.
kind of alternate in and out.
Who's, this is the first I've heard of
I saw it
another
in the
group being
paper,
formed.
that's all.
This is, it's not another group as much as it's everyone's talking, so I don't think it may have an official name, I don't know.
I don't know if I'd call it ad hoc, but the idea, as Greg said, was that there would be consistent messaging, particularly for the Rio Grande, that of expected behaviors that relate to speed, passing. So the city of Aspen is involved. The county, I think, open space.
Sure.
Jamie with her
RAFTA.
messaging. Yeah, RAFTA would be involved. So. And so it'll be a campaign that launches that puts the word out, and then I think as we heard from Greg, you just have that consistency throughout. So it's not like each community is trying to do their own thing, and so I think placement of signage, that specific messaging, and apparently, I happened to commute up here with Jamie today. She said they're getting some advice from a program in California where they've already done some of this work and kind of figured out what works and what doesn't. And it'll be iterative, certainly over time, but I think we're at least getting some good information up front.
Well, the Rio Grande goes into Garfield County.
Sure.
Are they involved?
Well, but they don't have anything to do with it in Garfield County.
They can
RAFTA's
do
right
about
away.
bike safety
Open
in
space gets it on
county.
this end.
Well, it's
Yeah.
really RAFTA down there, and it's really RAFTA all the way up to the Picken County, and then it's Picken
Aspen
County
open
open space and trail.
Maybe, and it might be, I'm not certain if Glenwood is involved or not. I know town of Basalt, when this was sort of first being talked about, I was still employed down there, and, it was kind of gaining momentum. So Basalt was
It's
involved.
early in discussions, but to me, it's the Rio Grande Trail, and there's only certain jurisdictions that have authority over it.
That's
It
right.
shouldn't change if Basalt wants you to go 50 miles an hour, and El Jebel is saying, or Glenwood Springs saying you go 35.
Is it just the Rio Grande that they're talking about, or is
Well,
it
it's
all
talking
biking?
about the bike paths in the valley, from the schools into town.
Oh,
all that.
okay,
And
so
the
it's
city- that's
not
why the
just
city
the
or
Rio
schools
Grande.
Yeah,
would
not
be
just the Rio Grande.
Paying attention to it.
Well,
Right.
I was quite surprised at the Open Space and Trails meeting, the part that was not exec session, to hear them talking about the two bridges and talking to construction companies, because we have not passed that as a,
The bridges, the
Yeah.
bike bridges, yeah. No, I wasn't here for that part.
well, Gary was explaining about all the work they've been doing with the construction company and the talks they've been having, and I was like, really?
Seems a bit early.
I think those are not so much talking to construction companies for, starting construction. I think what they're getting is some more background on constructability, and then get a better sense on pricing and location and that stuff to bring back to you all.
At whose expense is this happening? This
OST.
The interesting thing, back to my previous topic, if we regulate the speed on the bike paths and then we make them less attractive to commuters by slowing everything down, then those bridges become even less necessary. Because the point is, you're
Not
trying to get
necessary,
from the
period.
intercept lot to get somewhere. And if I find myself deciding to take the highway instead of the bridge, because the bridge has a speed limit on it, and on the highway I can go 20 miles an hour, I'll find myself using the bridge instead of the highway instead of the bridge. It's like, that would be crazy, and I anticipate it could happen.
Well, yeah, you know how I feel about the bridges. Okay, is there anything else for open discussion?
That's all I've
Not for
got.
me.
Okay, I believe this meeting is over.
Okay,
Thank you, well done. Out of here early, look at that. We've got 12 minutes of our lives we can play back for those long